Oh my gosh, this is amazing. Hello friends, welcome back to the Craft Castle. My name is Ashley and I am back with another Xtool screen print video. This is going to be my third one in this series. The first video was all about unboxing, how regular crafters are going to unbox their machine and what that's going to look like. It's going to be raw, it's going to be uncut. We are learning from the get. We're going to get through some hurdles of learning, and then we're going to go into the video 2. Video 2 is all about the things that I have learned since unboxing the Xtool screen printer. Because like all crafters, we are brand new to something, we are going to mess up. But it's how we get over those mess ups and those hurdles to create beautiful things. Now I do have to tell you, even though in my first unboxing video that I did, I still came out with something that looked amazing. Yes, did I assemble my screen wrong? I sure did. But you know what ended up happening? Even though I did it wrong, we still got something screen printed. Now, I did 2, but this one's the only one that I could really show you. This one looks absolutely amazing. Now, the reason why I can't really show you the other one is because I did it in glow in the dark, and I should have known. It was just going to be essentially not there. It's very hard to see. So even though I did the screen print wrong, I mean, if you watch that and you're a seasoned screen print professional, you probably cringed. I cringed watching it back, but I was going to leave all of that stuff in there because, again, it's about hurdles. We're crafters. We're brand new into this. We need to figure out how we get over our little hurdles to get something that looks amazing. And even though I didn't do it right, I still got something. So in video 2, I realized that my settings were off. I realized that I didn't do the screen print right. And I realized what this thing is for. So then at the end of video 2, we got a tote. Yes, it is upside down. I did mention the reason why it was upside down was just because this was already going to be like my mess up thing, just a test run. So I ended with this, but then I also in that same print did this. This right here is a screen printed t-shirt using the same screen print that I used for this. It's over here. Now I have cleaned this up and washed this off. So technically this screen is still usable. So as long as you wash your screens after use, you're still going to be able to use it. Now there is a lot of discussions about whether or not you can reuse your screens. From what I understand, traditional screens for a screen printer, they have this coating that's called emulsion. I don't quote me on that. I am definitely not a screen print professional. But from what I understand, in a traditional screen print, what you would do is wash off your emulsion and then you would be able to apply it back on. Now, I have talked to my gal Heidi over at Xtool, and she has said with these particular screens, there's no such thing as emulsion or anything like that. Now, I have asked what in the world is on these screens and why can't we use them ourselves? So reading the email that I got from my girl Heidi, she said the blue part is a photosensitive resin. It cannot be applied to oneself. It requires professional handling by factory personnel due to high difficulty in this technique. So I'm assuming that this is not emulsion, it is something else. And no, we are not going to be able to reuse these for a different engraved image. Now, like I said, the one that I've already done before, the proud member of the Naughty Club, this right here has already been engraved and I can reuse this as long as I clean the screens. I'll be able to reuse my engraved screen over and over and over again. So for like next holiday season, for next year, I could pull this screen out and reuse my screen. But as far as washing off the engraving to do a new engraving, I don't know if that's going to be possible. Okay, another question that I had in one of my videos is this, how do you cure this? Is it heat curing? Because in the live that Xtool did when they did the live unveiling of the screen printer, they were doing a heat seal. I have asked them because I was like, wait a minute, I have A, never washed this, but B, I never heat sealed. Heidi over at Xtool, and even in the directions of your screen furniture, it does say that you can just air dry. Now she says, wash these on cold and gentle wash. I will be back with an update on how this ends up washing, but she just said just air dry for this. The reasoning why they were just using a blow dryer to dry up their prints during that live is just to speed up the process. They say if you're going to air dry 24 to 48 hours before handling, so that would be a very long live. So that's why they were using the heat dryer to dry it up, but it's not necessary. So have I even told you what we're doing today? I don't think I did. What we're doing today is a multi-color screen print. What that means is I'm going to need 3 different screens for 3 different colors. And by the end of that, hopefully we get one garment that has 3 different colors that's all aligned correctly and looking fabulous. So in the other 2 videos, I only needed 1 screen, right? This right here, this naughty one for Christmas, only required 1 color, and that was black. For this one, I'm going to require 3. So I need to prep 3 of these screens. This one right here, I've already prepped. I'm going to show you how to prep the other screens appropriately. Then what we're going to do is we're going to go into Xtool. We're going to set it all up. And then we're going to go over into the D1, and I'm going to show you how we're going to properly align all of our screens to make sure that it engraves exactly the way it's supposed to engrave. We're going to be using this thing right here. This right here is key and crucial to make sure that all of your screens are going to be lined up appropriately and also level. This is key right here. All right, so let's just get started. We're gonna prep some screens, and it's actually fairly easy. Okay, so this is already my prep screen. The only thing that I have to do is take off the cardboard of this, but we're gonna leave this here for example so we know exactly how to assemble our screen. Now, taking on and off these screens are actually fairly easy when you know what you're doing. So all you need to do to take them off is release these levers. There is going to be some on both sides and then also at the very bottom. Then what you want to do is just roll out these plates right here, or I guess they're called slats. Then we just want to take this off. This pulls right off. Now, I'm going to keep this because I can probably reuse it with a small little engraving here and there. So you don't have to throw these away. Remember, they are reusable if you wanted to do the same engravings again. Okay, so let's just flip this over so we know what we're doing. Now what you're going to want to do is grab a new screen print. So this right here, and we are going to put the cardboard facing down. So we're going to put this cardboard and it's going to go inside of the rectangle. Okay, starting on one edge. Do you see how it's nice and tight like this? We don't want to push it down. That's not going to give you a good tight screen. So you want to keep it pulled up like this, making sure your cardboard is inside your screen. I'm just going to start on one side. There is a channel that's right here. That is where this gets hooked into place. So when you do this, we are going to put our screen inside, making sure the cardboard's in the rectangle, and we're going to push our masking tape side inside that channel. Taking one of your little brackets, we are going to now push it into the channel. There it goes. And then we're just going to roll it into place. That kind of just locks it into place. Now let's move over to the next side. What I'm going to do is pull tight and roll in my masking tape. Grabbing another bar, we are going to roll this into place, just like the first one. Okay, now what you want to do is go here to the bottom where the tightening flaps are, doing the same thing. Let's pull tight and push in that masking tape. We're going to take these shorter bars and just push it into place, just like we've done for the other 2 things. Okay, for the very top right here, there is a channel, but there's no locks. Just doing the same thing we've done before. We're going to roll this into place, put this down in. Now this one isn't going to lock into place. However, if you've done this correctly, your bars will not fall out. Okay, so when we have all 4 bars in, the next thing to do is we do have a little bit of give right here, but when we put these down, it now pulls the frame tight. See how now there's no give on any of that? If there is still some give on your frame, then all you need to do is just take this off and take one of your brackets off and re-tighten your masking tape. So like this one was a little wiggly still initially. We're gonna put that in. Let's tighten these levers up. There we go. So and this is a little bit tighter in the corner. So if you don't like the tightness of your frame, then you can always just move these levers back into the unlocked position and retighten your frame. You want your frame to look like this, nice and tight. So now we have 3 screens prepped. That's gonna be enough for all 3 colors that I am using today. Now, what you want to do is you're going to go in and you're going to take off all of these cardboards when you're done, when you're ready to engrave them. Okay, so now let's talk about this bar and why it is crucial for our screen print. The very first thing is this bar is designed for the D1. These holes right here at the ends of your bar will go underneath your legs of your D1. So now we have it into place. Okay, when you have that bar onto your D1, do you see these little metal pegs that are right here? These 2 pegs are actually very crucial. So what this is if you take a prepped screen and we were to put this into the D1, there is some channels in your screen at the very top. You would slide them into where those metal pegs are. So we're gonna slide them into place. These pegs do 2 things and they're very important. The very first thing is even if you are only doing 1 single layer, what you've just done is guarantee that whatever gets engraved onto your screens is gonna be completely level and straight. If you didn't have this bar and you put it in here thinking that it was 100% straight, and you did an engraving, what would happen is your engraving is not going to be straight. So it's not going to be straight on your garments. So having this bar right here will guarantee that every single time you do an engraving, you are completely centered and level. The other thing too is this guide helps because let's say we've already engraved and we are doing layer 1 for the engraving. When this is all done being engraved, we can slide this out and we can put in our second frame, putting it onto those metal pegs. And now we can do the engraving of layer 2, and layer 1 and layer 2 are going to line up perfectly because we utilize those metal pegs that are right here. So this is why this bar right here is actually plays a very crucial part into this screen printing machine. All right, we are done with the setup. Now let's go over to the computer. We can do all of the design work. It's gonna be very easy. We can set up our settings and then we'll come back to the laser engraver and laser engrave our designs onto our screen prints. Okay, so here we are at the Xtool Creative Space. Now, the very first thing I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go over here into the laser flat. I'm gonna click this caret and I'm gonna go down to screen print. Okay, when I changed over into screen print, you will see that my screen size is the 16 by 11.5. So that is this entire white area. That's gonna be your working area and that's the exact size of your screen. Okay, for this project, I'm actually not gonna do any design work in Creative Space. I'm just gonna import my own SVG file. So I found my SVG file and all I need to do is drag and drop my file. The image is too large. I'm just gonna press scale to fit on the canvas. We can resize this here in a second. Okay, all of this gets set over to score initially. So I'm gonna go over into engrave and then I'm just going to make this smaller to fit inside of our white working area. Okay, when we set up our screen prints, the very left side of your canvas is going to be the very top of your screen print. Now, when we insert our t-shirts inside the screen print, the top or the collar of your shirt is going to be at the very right side of your canvas. So what you want to do is we're going to rotate this 90 degrees and we're going to rotate it like this. Okay, so the top of your lettering needs to be at the very right of your canvas. The other thing you want to do is select your entire design, and we want to reflect this vertically. So you are engraving backwards. Okay, the very next thing we want to do is just taking our entire design. So we're going to select the entire design and we are just going to move this onto our screen. Now you're going to want to make sure that it is centered onto your screen print. Okay, when we have it centered onto our screen print, we are going to work in layers. Remember, we have 3 different colors. We have 3 different screen prints. So we need to work on 1 layer at a time. When you have your entire screen print set up, then what you want to do is come over here and we need to hide some layers. We only want to reveal 1 layer. So let's work on the layer 1, which is going to be my red. So I'm going to hide over here, hide this layer, and then hide this layer. Do not, I repeat, do not change or move anything at this point unless you're changing your entire design together. Okay, I'm just going to now select it like that. And I'm going to do the settings that I like for my screen printer. Okay, so the settings that I like to use for my screen printer. For the power, I like to use 60. And then for the speed, I'm going to stay at 80. We just need to do 1 pass. Okay, and the very next thing is I've come to realize that my craft room isn't as open air as I would prefer it to be. And that note, I also don't have a tent for my D1. So I'm going to take my D1 outside to do all the engraving. I'm going to show you to make sure that we have this all framed appropriately and everything. We're going to go outside and we're going to continue on with the engravings. Okay, so I got ourselves set up outside. The D1 is on. I have taken off the cardboard from the screen, and now we're going to put this frame onto those little metal pegs like I've told you before. Then over on our Xtool Creative Space, what you want to do is you want to press framing. Okay, when it's set to frame, you want to press your button here at the bottom right, and that is going to frame. You are paying attention to where the head is moving. Now, I don't like the fact that it's heavy over here on this side. It has a huge gap on this side and very little on that. So what I'm going to do is press framing complete. I'm going to unhide all of my layers because remember, we want to make sure that we only do the layers all together. I'm going to select my entire clip art and I'm just going to move it down. Okay, when that's done, we can keep all the layers like they're supposed to be. And let's go to framing again. And let's press that button. Okay, I still think that it needs to be moved down a little bit. So I'm just going to do framing, selecting everything and moving it down a little bit more. Okay, you want to keep doing this process until you have it framed exactly the way you want it to be framed. Okay, I got about 1 inch over here, or a finger's width over here and also over here. So all I'm going to do is press framing complete. Okay, before we hide the layers, what I'm going to do is I'm going to do this layer 1 or this layer 2, and I'm going to set it to ignore. I'm going to go to layer 3. I'm also going to set it to ignore. And layer 1, we have it at 60 to 100 engrave. I'm going to do output. The next thing I'm going to do is just hide layer 2 and hide layer 3. And then we're going to press process. Okay, this is what your screen is going to look like. Remember, we've already framed, so we're good to go. Now all you want to do is press start. Now the very next thing, we want to make sure that these frames are pushed really close to those pegs. That is crucial to make sure that our print lines up correctly. When we've already done all of that, all you want to do is press your button and let the machine do the engraving. Okay, so layer 1 is complete. It took 34, almost 35 minutes. Now what you want to do is just press the OK. All right, we are going to slide this out. And here is our next screen that has the cardboard already taken off. We are going to put this back in, and we are going to make sure that our screen is nestled into those metal stems. Okay, now what we want to do is hide layer 1. We're going to go to layer 2. Let's just select it. We are going to do an output engrave, and we are going to do the same settings. So we have 60 power, 80 speed, same thing. We haven't touched anything. And I did forget a step. For layer 1, we want to make sure and ignore that. So going back over into layer 1, we are going to hide it again. So we are going to work on the black layer, which is layer 2. We're going to do an output. We've inputted our settings. Then you want to press process. The only thing that you want to make sure is that your frame is really nestled into those metal stems that are right there. This is what it's going to look like on your screen. You just want to press start, and then we're going to press that button on our machine. Okay, so we got layer 2 done. Layer 2 took 1 hour and 16 minutes, so all we're going to do is press OK. Then what we're going to do is click on layer 2. We are going to ignore it. Then we're going to hide layer 2. We're going to go to layer 3, unhide layer 3. We're going to make sure and have that click. We are going to set it from ignore to output, and we are going to do the same settings that we did before. So 60 power, 80 speed. Now all we need to do is slide this out and slide this in. So remember, we are going to line up with the metal pegs, line it in there nice and tight. Okay, then we want to press process. We haven't changed the alignment. We don't even need to worry about the framing. When that's done, then you just want to press start and press the button. Okay, so layer 3 only took 16 minutes. Woohoo! So now we can take this and the other 2 screens up to the back to the craft room, and then let's see if we did this correct. Okay, I moved the screen print over to the work table. Now, this is really cool, is that if I put all 3 screens together, you're not going to be able to see it, but I stacked all 3 screens together, making sure that they were perfectly aligned. When I held them up into the light, you actually can see that all 3 of the layers are perfectly aligned. We did this correct on our first try. See, this is like learning process, and you get better and better over time. And the other thing too, so in my starter kit, I had gotten 11 colors, and they are like the CMYK colors. Technically, they're calling this red, but it really is like a magenta. So what I went ahead and did is custom made my own colors because I wanted some Christmas red color. So I have a Christmas red. I just mixed the red and the yellow together to get this like Christmassy red color. And then I did for this one, it's like a Christmassy green color. I did blue and yellow with just a little bit of black in there. So I have my 2 custom mixed colors. I'm also going to use the black. That being said, I'm sure that you can buy pre-mixed colors, but I only wanted to use what I had available to me in my starter kit. So that's why I chose just to custom mix my colors. I just used like a silicone that I normally use for resin. I just mixed them in the silicone cups. Okay, so removing the screen is fairly easy. This was that one from the naughty Christmas list. All you have to do is pull these 2 levers up like this, and you just want to pull it out. It falls right out. Okay, I'm going to start with the first layer. So this was the first layer that we did. These things right here at the very bottom is going to go into my screen print. When I have that done, I'm just going to lever these things back tight. That way it will not fall out. Now, I'm actually so confident on our engravings that I'm actually going to use a t-shirt today. So all I'm going to do is put this t-shirt on. Let me lift this up. I'm going to slide this t-shirt into, there's like this channel that's right here. There's a channel that's right here. We're going to put this t-shirt on. Now, I have been told that you can take this off and it will keep your garment in place. So this is the sticky pad. It's supposed to keep your garment in place so it doesn't get, doesn't slide everywhere. All right, so I have my garment into place. I like that the actual cutting mat, or this like sticky mat, has lines in it because this right here is the middle. And so I have it directly centered in the middle. Now the other thing that I can do is like this one right here. We can make sure that we have the adjustments properly. So generally when I do HTV shirts, I always like to do 3 fingertips from the bottom of your shirt collar right here. So if I push this down, we got 3 fingertips before the lettering starts. So I think we're good on the positioning. Then what you want to do is you want to come over here and you just want to turn this nozzle and lock it into place. If you don't turn this nozzle, what happens is it will continue. Once I let it go, it'll come back up. So we want to push this down and put the nozzle tight. So when I let go, it stays into place. Okay, so layer 1 for me was red. So I am just going to take this. Now, if you had the cup, which I'm going to use the spatula with this, you could just use the spatula. However, because I already have mixed it, I'm just going to throw and I have like a wooden stick. I'm just going to put the wooden stick just like this. I'm going to put my custom mixed red paint on my screen print just like that. You want to make sure you have enough ink to cover your entire print. Okay, there's still a lot that's left in here. I don't think I'm going to need it, so I'm just going to leave it as is. Now I'm going to take my squeegee with one motion. You just want to go in one fluid motion. Okay, I'm just going to take this excess paint and I'm just going to put it back into my cup. We're going to put this, has a magnetic thing. We're just going to put it on the back of the screen print so it stays into place. Okay, now all I'm going to do is I am just going to lift this up. Technically, you're supposed to wait for 10 minutes to let this, but I'm just going to lift this up. Oh my gosh, this looks absolutely fabulous. So all I'm going to do is just untighten this nozzle so it will lift up a little bit. Okay, at this point, what I'm going to do is grab my hair blow dryer and dry this just so I can move on to the next layer faster. If you didn't want to and you wanted to wait, you totally could. The only problem is you're going to be waiting for it to air dry, and that's going to be about 24 hours. Okay, so I have dried it just enough, I think. So now all I'm going to do is taking those flippers, I'm going to move them out to the outside, pull this out. Okay, layer 2 is this right here. So I'm just going to put this inside my screen print and tighten these up. Okay, doing the same thing before. We're just going to set this down, push this straight down onto our garment, tightening it up. Okay, because we've now switched colors, what I want to do is I want to wipe this off because this still has that red. Okay, so I've wiped it off, I've cleaned it off. Now I'm going to use, for layer 2 for me was black, so I'm just going to open up my black. Okay, just going to use my spatula and I'm going to add ink to my screen. You know, the cool thing is that even if you put too much ink, you can always just repurpose it and put it back in the bottle. As long as your ink hasn't dried, you can still put it back into your bottle. Okay, there's the black. I'm just going to take my squeegee and remember, I'm going to push down on my screen and also just do one motion. Doing it again. Okay, I'm going to take my bottle that I have right here and my spatula, and I'm just going to take the excess paint and put it back into my bottle. Now, if you were doing multiple t-shirts, you don't have to put your ink straight away back into your bottle. You can keep it on the screen. The paint is thick enough that it's not going to bleed and be runny everywhere. So you could definitely just keep it onto the screen if you're going to be doing multiple garments. Okay, lay that there. Now again, it says to wait 10 minutes. I'm not going to wait 10 minutes. I'm just going to lift this up and use my knob and untighten it. And I can tell you right now, This right here looks absolutely fabulous. We don't even have the third color on here. I cannot believe that I am doing this. It looks absolutely stinking amazing. I cannot wait to show you the finished product. Okay, I'm gonna let this dry for a second and I'm just gonna do a little bit of cleanup work. Wipe off my squeegee just like what I did with the red because we're gonna move on to that Christmas green color. Okay, I'm gonna remove my screen. Okay, before I add in my screen 3, what I'm going to do is use my hairdryer and do the same thing I did with the first layer. I am just going to take my hair blow dryer and dry off the layer 2. What I've determined is taking like a clean finger, if I can dab on my other layer and my finger doesn't pick up any of the paint, we're good to go for the next layer. Now, obviously this is not completely dry, so I definitely would not wear it right away, but at least we can move on to the second layer because my finger's not getting dirty. Now the paint is still tacky, but at least we can move on to the next layer. So layer 3, which is right here, we're just going to take these little things, putting it in the machine just like we have every other one, making sure it's nice and tight in there. We're going to use the flaps and flap them down. Okay, then same thing. I'm going to put this down so it's like a 90 degree, and I'm going to push this straight down. Then I'm going to take my dial and make it tight. So then when I let go, it doesn't want to come back at me. Okay, now we have the Christmas green color. This one's like the smallest layer, so I don't need a whole lot of paint. I want to make sure you get good coverage on the entire print. Okay, taking my squeegee, I've already cleaned it off. I'm just going to do one motion, same as what we've been doing before. Okay, I'm going to take this excess, scoop it back into my paint. I've done enough little bit of cleanup. Then all I'm going to do, again, I did not wait the 10 minutes like they told me to, but as long as you do one fluid motion, up. Oh my gosh, this is amazing. Yeah, 2 color, 3 color. Yeah, 3 color screen print. I just did this. We just did this together. Look at that. Okay, so again, not fully dry. We haven't even put it under the air blow dryer yet, but I just want to show you, like, before we even take it off of the screen print, look at this. We did this on the first try. So in 3 videos, we have not only unboxed it and learned what not to do, we have then figured out what to do and how to properly do it and get a really good t-shirt. And then on the 3rd video, we learned how to do multicolor screen printing in 3 videos. This is amazing. So easy to use. So easy. All right, let me put a hair blow dryer to it and dry it up so we can get it off this screen print machine. All right, so let's take it off the mat. I do have to say though, as I was using the blow dryer to do this, my cutting mat on the bottom is starting to ripple a little bit. So I don't know if the best approach is to do a heat gun on top of the cutting mat. Okay, don't want to wrinkle the design too much because it is still wet. Okay, but look at that. Do you see that? We created this. Yes, we did. And if you look at it, it is completely straight and center onto the shirt. This is a very decently sized logo right here. Look at how stinking cute this is. Now, the benefit of screen printing. Yes, did it take more time to engrave all the screen prints? It sure did. But the benefit to this is, like I had said before, once you have the screen print done, it is yours forever. So let's say that this t-shirt design in your Etsy shop or your own business or your own website ends up being a t-shirt that sells hundreds at a time. You're not going to have to use vinyl to cut and weed and press. You're not going to have to do that. The hard part and the long time consuming part is already over because we've already engraved our screens. Now our screens are ours forever. As long as you keep them clean, the mesh clean, you're going to be able to reuse these screens over and over and over again. So yes, the prep work and the engraving of the screens does take a lot of time. But if you're going to be doing mass amounts of the same exact shirt, this is the way to go. The detail on it as well, you would not, a lot of these details, especially in that banner and that those small little lines and stuff, would be lost if you were trying to cut this on like a Cricut crafting cutter or anything like that. So there's definitely a lot of benefits to doing screen printing. Okay, this is still wet, so I need to let this dry for 24 hours before I can actually wear it. But can you believe we made this? We made this and it looks absolutely amazing. And again, this is our third screen printing video. We went from not doing anything correctly to making a 3-color screen print design. That's insane. All right, y'all, I sure hope I inspired you to create, and I'll see you later.